Good morning, YouTube. Today we're going to be testing the water quality here. We've lived on this little farm for about 20 years. It was a hay field when we bought it, and we put in our own water well about 20 years ago. So we have a well-seasoned 20-year-old water well, and we have a new water well that was installed in October of last year. We've had some water quality doubts and issues that have come up, so I wanted to see where we were at so we could figure out what we needed to do about them, if anything. Now, the first thing that I started with for quite a while, and I've used these for many years, is a 16-in-1 test strip kit. This thing goes and tests for total hardness, chlorine, iron, copper, lead, nitrate, fluoride, ammonia chloride, bromine, total alkalinity, carbonates, and most importantly to me here lately has been pH. I wanted to see what this thing would do with pH. So I went and ran some of these strips for a while, and they gave me what I considered outlandish readings in that it told me my pH was up above 10. Well, if that was the case, it would be eating the paint off of things, and yeah, when you get up around 10 or 12 on the pH scale, it becomes corrosive. So I wanted to figure out what the deal was and what we're dealing with. Now, just as a baseline, just to give you all an idea, I'm going to pull these out, and these are the test strips, like I said, that I've been using, and we're going to go and test our water. Now, what I've done is I've gone and taken a sample, and it's important to keep these inside of the envelope, keep them dry, keep them out of the sunlight, keep them out of heat, yada, yada, yada. And seal them up, seal up the little Ziploc bag when you're finished so that they're not exposed to any more air than they need to be. I have taken a sample of the water out of our tap here in the kitchen. So this will tell us the health and well-being of our water that we use in our kitchen for everything. And I'm going to put it in here just to make it easy to go after with my test strip. And they say to dunk it in, leave it in there for about 2 seconds. Uh-oh, I just lost it. Well, simple for me. I can just pour it right back in here and get that test strip back out. And again, this is out of our tap water. And if I go and compare it to the color chart, lay it on the box here, and you line it up with the color chart, what we see is it says that the pH is either 9.0 or above. However, it says that my water is pretty hard. I have no chlorine, which, you know, this is a well, so we're not going to have chlorine. It says I have no iron in the water at all. It basically has no copper, has no lead whatsoever. No nitrates, no nitrites. Let me see. According to this, I've got 0 fluoride. No cyanuric acid. The ammonia chlorine is 0. Bromine, of course, is virtually 0. Bromine is another thing like chlorine. Total alkalinity is somewhere between 180 and 240. My carbonates are high, that's expected. And my pH is, like I say, up over 9.0. And this is utilizing the test strips that I've gotten off of Amazon and I've used for years. And I use these for my swimming pool, I used them for my spa, used them for the aquaponic systems, the hydroponic systems years ago. But I had a man from Culligan Water in Brenham, Texas come out today and have him go through and do his testing. I wanted to see a professional that used what he used, and he used the titrates. These are the liquid tests, and these are much like a swimming pool testing kit that you see. And I told him I went and got some new toys off of Amazon. I went and bought a pH meter and a total dissolved solid meter. And a little kit that came from Amazon. And here's one of my old TDS meters. This is total dissolved solids. And I wanted to compare my readings with what he got. Well, the electronic meter told me a totally different story. And his tests confirmed what the new electronics said. So let's take this pH meter, and I'm going to use that same sample that I used for the house, very same sample, and we're going to turn on the little pH meter, and they say to put it in there and swirl it around until the reading stabilizes. And when it's stable, 7.5. 7.5, 7.4, right in that neighborhood. Put it over here in front of this camera. So, and that's what he got. About 7.5, 7.6, right in that neighborhood. So that tells me that this little pH meter that I got agrees with my local Culligan Water man. And my total dissolved solids meter that I just purchased off of Amazon is not the same as the old one that I got off of Amazon. However, they're very close. And for these total dissolved solids meters, don't take it as gospel. It's a guideline, and they're close. And sure enough, the one that he uses professionally was right in between these two. And these were pretty darn close, within 10 points. So his was right in the middle between my Amazon toys. So what this tells me is these test strips are going to go in the trash. If I keep them around, the only reason why I'm going to keep them around is to see how much iron is in the aquaponic water. And I'm kind of disappointed because I've been fooled for quite a few years by these test strips into thinking that the water quality here at my home had a pH of about 10 or more. And yeah, now I've got the electronic equipment to prove different. Now, what we did after that with the Culligan man is we went down to the pond, and I went and got a sample of water out of the pond, and then I went and got a sample of water out of the aquaponic system, and then of course, we have the tap water here in the kitchen. So, we know that the tap water is about 7.5-ish for pH. Let's go check what our new water well is. .54. In our old water well, and it's about 7.48. Now, let's test and see what the aquaponic water is. My aquaponic water pH is at 7.61. 7.61. 7.64 if you wiggle it. So that tells me that's pretty quick. You always want to flick all the water off before you go and lay this thing down, and it's a good idea to let it dry before you put the cap back on. Now, total dissolved solid meters. We're going to run through that real quick. And basically what this does is it gives you parts per million of total dissolved solids that are suspended in the water. Let's try the new water well. .250 parts per million of total dissolved solids, and that's in the new water well. In our old water well here at the tap here in the kitchen, we're running about 326. Now that may sound like an awful lot, but you got to remember we're in the country and this is a water well, not the city water system. Now, in my aquaponic system, it has a filtration system running 24/7, and my total dissolved solids are 244. 244. So my aquaponic system has less total dissolved solids than our new well, and our old water well seems to have the most total dissolved solids at 326 right now, 247, 250. That's amazing. That tells me that my old water well, the seasoned water well, has a lot of total dissolved solids in it. And when you hold it up to the light and look, it's hard to see any difference. But when you go and hold it up against the fish water, you notice the fish water has a little bit of color to it. But it has less total dissolved solids than my old water well does. So I found that rather interesting. Now the whole reason for this exercise is I really wanted to find out what is in the water so that I know what to put in it. One of the things that I had the Culligan man test for is iron. He went and tested the water out of the tap here, tested the water from the pond, and he tested the water coming out of the aquaponic system. And when I say out of the aquaponic system, I mean scooped out of a tank. There's no iron. No iron. So that tells me I need to add a whole bunch of iron to my system in order to make my plants happy. And I've added a little bit, but I was afraid of adding too much. Now I understand in 2,500 gallons worth of water that I need several pounds of chelated iron to bring it up where it ought to be. Now, just for fun, I went out and I grabbed the old freshwater test kit that I used to use on the aquaponic system in my aquariums. And this is a multi-bottle thing of test stuff from, I got off of Amazon.com. And according to this, I just went and filled all these up with the water and everything, and I'm comparing them with the color codes on the master test kit key. and it shows my pH is about 7.5 to 7.6, which everything else confirms that. My ammonias, I have between 0 and 0.25 ppm. My nitrites, I don't have any, and my nitrates, I don't have any. And that's in the water from the aquaponic system. And I'm gonna have to do something about that. But this is evidently an awful lot more trustworthy than those strips that I tried using. So I'm probably gonna depend on this and the electronic ones much more than the old test strips. So, the takeaway from all this, throw away your test strips. Go on Amazon and get you one of these electronic toys. And electronic toys evidently are a heck of a lot more accurate than the test strips will ever be. And I'll never depend on test strips again. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us on the farm. Come back and see us. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Hit the like button. You know you want to.